Hey guys, Louis Dangoor here from GiveMeSport, joined by a very special guest. You'll know him if you're a fan of UFC, if you're a fan of anything really where people beat each other up. Ariel Helwani's all over that. So Ariel, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. I mean, if people aren't aware of your work, for me, you're probably one of the best, if not the best broadcaster kind of doing what we do in this space. So it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Great to talk to you. I see you on Twitter from time to time, so it's nice to
That's
talk.
not a good thing. That's not a
Yeah.
good thing.
You've been
That is
talking a
not
lot
a
of
good thing.
sense. I almost blocked you a couple of weeks ago. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. But obviously, Ariel, you're with BT Sport now, doing some work with them, particularly on the WWE side of things, as well as obviously the UFC side of things. And BT Sport obviously going to be hosting Clash at the Castle. BT Sport is the UK's home for WWE. And Clash at the Castle is going to be on BT Sport 2 rather than the usual box office. So a tremendous kind of occasion for UK fans. And it's got to be so exciting for you anyway to kind of be over here covering this historic event.
Oh my God, this feels like a dream. I feel like I'm on a high this whole week. Um, I love pro wrestling. I remember SummerSlam '92 at Wembley, Bret the Hitman Hart versus Davey Boy Smith. I was watching it with my brother. He was a Davey Boy Smith fan. I adored Bret Hart, and so to be back here 30 years later for this massive event in this stadium that I've heard so much about, that I've seen, many events on television from that stadium in Cardiff, Principality Stadium, is just a huge honor. And I love working for BT so much. Last year, when I was leaving ESPN and just kind of looking at what I could do and what the options were, I really wanted to work with people and with companies, networks, outlets that seemed like they were great people, that worked hard, that had creative, fun, unique ideas. And I think as far as broadcast partners are concerned, BT Sport are the very best in the game. And I'm not just saying that because I work for them. I don't think any broadcast partner covers UFC like they do. I don't think any broadcast partner covers WWE like they do. They do a tremendous job on the boxing and football side as well. And the best part for me, and I'm honestly, truly not just saying this, I've never worked with a team like the people at BT Sport, like the camaraderie, the friendship, how hardworking they are. It's a very special and unique group of people. And when I get the opportunity to do things like this, I just relish it. I don't even like traveling anymore and leaving my kids, but these ones I look forward to.
It's an absolute kind of crazy world that we live in now, particularly with WWE, and BT Sport have done a tremendous job at kind of capping that all off. But you mentioned obviously this is going to be a big event, Clash at the Castle. Another big event that's coming up this or kind of April 2023 is WrestleMania. So what I'm going to do now, and this is actually a part of a new series, and you're the first person I'm doing this with.
Oh, thank you.
We're going to look at the WrestleMania 39 card. You're going to run me through some things you'd like to see on that card. And then we're going to sit, hopefully, once I've done a load of these in April or March next year, and compare how different, because wrestling fans do like to kind of fantasy book things that maybe aren't so realistic and then they don't come to pass. But we're going to sit and look at this now. Maybe you can give me some ideas. And then kind of April next year, we can sit and go, okay, that was way off. Somehow you got that, but we can kind of talk about it and go from there. So how does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, I think that I'm going to get this horribly wrong, if only because, as you know, there's a new era right now, right? The Triple H era. And I feel like so much is changing on a week-to-week basis. People are reemerging. People are coming back. It's a very fun time. So I can't imagine what things are going to look like come, April, but I'm down to try.
Awesome. So, okay, here's what we're going to do. I've got my screen showing there. So you're going to run me through maybe kind of what you think. We'll write them down. We'll talk about them from there. So your main event, right? Obviously, Clash at the Castle, a big event where there is a chance that we could see Roman Reigns. It kind of feels like, for me anyway, the first time I've legitimately in a long time gone, there's a chance he might not win at Clash at the Castle. So walking into WrestleMania 39, if you got the book, say you were Triple H, you've got a similar hairdo, maybe slightly, it looks slightly different, but if you were Triple H for kind of now until then, what is your WrestleMania main event? Is Roman Reigns walking in with the titles?
He is not, but he is in the main event. You don't need the title for my WrestleMania 39 main event. It's big enough without the title will be needed elsewhere on the card. To me, there's only one true main event for WrestleMania 39, and it's the battle of who is truly, the head of the table, the tribal chief, if you will. It's Roman Reigns versus The Rock. That's the one that has to happen. That's the one we've been thinking about for so long. That's the one that they teased on Young Rock a couple of months ago. And I don't think you need the belt for that one at all. It's big enough. It's special enough to where it just kind of sells itself. So that's what I would do as the main event.
I've got a couple of questions there. One I want to ask you. Obviously, that is a match that we'd maybe describe as a Vince McMahon match. Call it. Your part timer comes back and he gets the big slot within this show.
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe? Go on, sorry.
He's part-timer. He's the freaking biggest name in Hollywood, all right?
I was gonna say, do you think that even maybe Triple H, where he's trying to get a bit of cachet with fans and push the newer guys like a Johnny Gargano or a Ciampa, do you think he will even go, okay, The Rock is a different situation where he's someone that you don't get offered twice. So once you've got the opportunity for him, you put him in the biggest match possible against the biggest star. Do you think that will translate over from Vince McMahon to Triple H?
Triple H ain't no dummy. Also, he has great, respect and admiration and has a long history with The Rock. This is The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He's got like 1 billion social media followers. He's the highest paid actor in Hollywood. He's a massive, massive movie star. He has broken through. He's a gigantic deal. He's future president of the United States, for God's sakes. So, yes, you do The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Plus, you've got that family history, that story, that background. All that is just, plus it's in Hollywood, right? That's big. And a part of the story as well, considering he lives there and has lived there for so long. Yeah, this isn't Batista coming back, with all due respect. This is the freaking Rock, all right? And you got that family history, and they've teased elements of it. Yeah, it's an absolute no-brainer. And honestly, this past year they called Brock versus Roman Part 1000 the biggest match in WrestleMania history. I thought that was a little insulting because I could think of 5 bigger ones off the top of my head. This would be the biggest main event in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. Rock coming back against his family member, Roman Reigns, considering how big Roman is now. Sign me up.
I agree. I completely agree. I understand the arguments that not leading the title, and I definitely agree. I understand those that think the title is integral to Roman's character, but I think that's the beauty of it. You could go both ways. But on that note, obviously, you mentioned the title will be needed elsewhere. Where do you see the title going in this? So who's got your titles? And do we have one title? Do we have 2 titles? Where do you fall on that?
Okay, so I hate the 2 titles. I hate the brand split. I hate all that stuff. I'd like for everyone to be on both shows. I'd like there to be one WWE champion, and that's it. No Universal, this, that, whatever. If you want to just call the main champion Universal, fine. One tag team champ. I'm okay with the U.S. title and the IC title because they both have like a long history attached to them, but I'm not a big fan of that. So I like the fact that they're unified right now, if I'm being honest. What I would do is Drew wins on Saturday. So, this might be outdated very, very quickly. Drew wins. He has his moment. The thing about Drew is he was robbed of his moment in 2020, right? He was supposed to beat Brock in front of 75,000 people. He was robbed of that moment. I remember talking to him on the Monday after the event on Sunday, and it was a pre-tape, first time ever, hopefully last time ever. And I was like, what was it like watching yourself win the WWE belt from home? Surreal, and no one deserved that. He didn't deserve that. So I'd like to see him get this moment now in front of his people, so to speak. And then for him to be viewed as like a true great dominant champion, I would like to see him keep the belts all the way to WrestleMania. And I tell you, like, if I could just go total fantasy booking here, right?
Yep, go. This is Ariel Helwani's WrestleMania.
Okay, this is what I want. I want Drew McIntyre to keep the belt, and I want him to defend the title against a man who hopefully returns in the next couple of weeks, months, and that's Bray Wyatt. I want Bray Wyatt back. I hated the fact that Bray Wyatt left. I miss him. I want him to come back like the old Bray Wyatt with the freaking lanterns, walking out, the fireflies, all that stuff. Like, I want that Bray Wyatt back. One of the best performers that I've seen in the last 2 decades, one of the brightest minds, just a special talent. And I'm hoping, as Triple H is bringing back some familiar faces, Bray Wyatt is coming back soon. I'd love to see Drew McIntyre against a heel Bray Wyatt. The Fiend was cool, and the Firefly Funhouse was cool, but I want vintage Bray Wyatt to come back. That's who I would vote for it in the co-main, so to speak, for the belt.
Awesome. And I mean, it's one of those ones where a lot of people are speculating who's going to be back. Bray is one that I think is suited to kind of WWE rather than elsewhere. And like you said, I think the old Bray is kind of much more suited to this, and we definitely like to see that. But one thing a lot of people have been kind of speculating is Cody returns, wins the Royal Rumble, goes to face Seth Rollins, who may be champion by then, and then you have Cody finally winning the title at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins again. I kind of wanted to ask about that. Do you see Cody and Seth colliding in your dream world of WrestleMania? Because a lot of people have said if so, Cody would have been back for a year, granted injured for a long period of that, but he only really would have faced Seth. So what would you like to see Cody and by proxy Seth do at WrestleMania?
First of all, Seth is like the company man of all company men. Like what he's been doing, I felt bad for him that he couldn't compete at SummerSlam like in an official match. So I don't hate that. But to your point, it feels like we've only seen Cody against Seth since his return. Now, some other stuff could happen, and that injury was gnarly, so who knows how long he'll be out for. I don't hate it, but I don't love it as well because I want to see a fresh matchup. I like the fact, by the way, that the IC belt and the U.S. title are feeling more important these days. Cody going for the U.S. title, by the way, ain't the worst idea considering what that belt meant to his father back in the day. So I don't hate that, but I would like to see them go up against different people because we saw them 3 straight pay-per-views and it felt like it was getting a little bit redundant after a while.
I definitely agree. And I think it'd be nice to see kind of someone different. So you'd say Cody going after the US belt, obviously given his father's link to that. Who would you like the champion to be? Bobby Lashley still, or are you thinking someone else could maybe be in that mix?
Don't hate. You know what? I'll go with Bobby because I like long reigning champions, and I think Bobby has actually put the belt over big time. His match against Ciampa recently was great. I really enjoyed that. Fresh matchup. I personally like Bobby as a heel more than a face. So a returning Cody Rhodes as a baby face, obviously going up against Bobby as a heel, sign me up for that. And then I'll say I love the IC belt dating back to, the Macho Man, Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat days, the Mr. Perfect Bret Hart days, the Roddy Piper days, all that stuff. So I wouldn't hate Seth in the IC title match. I also wouldn't hate Seth versus Drew, if I'm being honest, for the heavyweight belt. But since I already booked Bray in that spot, Seth, I really like Gunther, although I wish they would give him his old name back. I like Walter way better than Gunther. My middle son's name is Walter. It's a tremendous name. I like him as a champion, but Seth has to go up against the babyface. So who's he gonna go up against? You got any ideas?
I think maybe like a Johnny Gargano could be quite cool if we're seeing him back.
Johnny versus Seth would be great. Seth versus Austin Theory would be a good one as well.
It would.
That's the one.
Seth versus Austin Theory. I like that. I like that a lot. And kind of if you've got the obviously this is your WrestleMania. If you've got the book for that big show, would you have Austin go over as kind of like another passing of the torch moment?
No.
No, you'd go for Seth.
Yeah, I go for Seth. He deserves it. Yeah,
I agree. Okay.
I got a curveball for you here.
Oh, go on.
Here's a match I'd love to see at WrestleMania. Returning Becky Lynch as the man. She's obviously going to be a face, right?
Of course.
When she returns, I think they kind of planted that seed against a heel Liv Morgan.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
I feel like the fans are kind of turning on her a little bit. Those ingrates, those they're not very loyal. They like will you to the top and then they turn on you. I could see a Liv Morgan promo being like, "Where were you guys? I finally win and now you turn your back on me. You stab me in the back." She maybe dyes her hair black. The man comes back and beats her to win the belt, and Liv keeps the belt for them.
I love that. Okay, 2 more I've got for you. And listen, this one is one we're all loving seeing at the moment because It's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It
Oh
seems
yeah,
like that's going to be one that we see. Do you think we delay this reunion until WrestleMania, have them beat the Usos at WrestleMania? For me, that's what I do. I think that's the way to go. Would
that
you
would
like
be,
to see that?
I love this storyline. I love it. By the way, Sami Zayn. I'm not just saying this because we're both from the same great city, Montreal, as is Kevin Owens, a little bit outside of Montreal. But I got love for the Quebecois. Sami Zayn is like an all-time performer. The stuff that he's doing with the Bloodline now, the stuff that he's doing with Roman Reigns, just amazing. And I like the storytelling. Most recently, we saw him. They wanted him to hit Kevin. He didn't want to hit Kevin. I love their backstory, their history. I mean, the product right now is so much fun, so interesting. It was so stale and, dare I say, boring as recently as like 2 months ago. Like when I found out that the Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns was going to be the main event of SummerSlam for the 9,000th time, I was like, oh, come on, guys, we can think of something better than this. And I know Cody got injured, and I know they were dealt a bad hand, and I know there was this and that, but it was way too redundant. This is fun. This is creative. This is different. It's unique. So yes, that is 1,000% it. And I'd love to see those two keep the Usos as champs all the way up until Mania, and then have Sami and Kevin have that moment.
Awesome. I completely agree. The one more I had to ask you. We mentioned Gunther earlier, or there should be
Yeah.
Walter, but Gunther. So if he's not going to be in the IC title mix, one thing I'd love to see, I'll be the Ryan Katz to your Triple H for this moment. I'll pitch. You can shoot me down or tell me yes or no. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar.
Ooh, that would be incredible. Jeez.
Just you almost say to them, there doesn't need to be a big elaborate story of Brock coming in and doing this. You just have a battle of strength. Who's the strongest? Let those two go out there, chop each other to death, suplex each other to death, and then we have a winner. Hopefully, Gunther. Would you like to see that?
I like it, but since I don't want to take your idea, I'm going to throw another one your way.
Go on.
It's the match that we were supposed to get many moons ago. We've heard some recent talk about it from Brian Gewirtz, his great book that came out. He did great in April. Brock versus Stone Cold. Let's go.
Wow. Okay.
What? Stone Cold could do it. He proved he could do it.
Wow. I mean,
Is
listen.
Is that not a scene? Is that absolute scenes or what?
That is as wow. I'm speechless. I am speechless. That it would be a prospect. It would be something that I think not a lot of people would see coming. And you get the Stone Cold the return pop, you get Brock Lesnar. It's something fans have wanted to see for ages. So I'm 100% on board with that. But another one I want to ask quickly before we conclude: Logan Paul, impressed at WrestleMania beyond belief. Impressed at SummerSlam in his singles debut beyond belief. He'll be on the card at WrestleMania 39. And I've got a theory. I've got a theory that we may see something with Jake as well.
Huh.
If his schedule permits it, whether that's just coming down. I think they'll be tag team champions in WWE 100%. 100%. But I could see them doing something where either he comes in or it's a tag or he's in his corner. What would you see Logan do? And would you bring Jake in with that?
I would bring Jake in, and I would want them to be heels. I think Logan is better as a heel. Obviously, his brother is better as a heel as well. I think Jake is going to be busy, so I'm not going to book that.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what I am going to book. I'm going to book Logan Paul as a heel versus a babyface Edge. I think they can have a tremendous match. You like that? What do you think of that?
I like that.
Right? Everyone loves Edge. Same sort of body type. Logan has been amazing, very impressed. I think Edge is the right kind of guy to put him in there against. I can see something like that being very special. So Logan Paul. By the way, I'm looking at this card right now. This is one of the all-time great cards that I've ever seen.
This is good.
Hit me up here. I mean, I think
I was gonna say, listen, if Triple H sees this, BT Sport might be having to fight hard to keep you, because this card is looking incredible. I mean, we got Roman Reigns and The Rock. It's gonna happen, and it should happen. Drew McIntyre and Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. Bobby Lashley and Cody Rhodes for the US title. Seth versus Theory. Babyface Becky Lynch against a heel Liv Morgan. the Canadian, like Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, maybe with Ariel Helwani in their corner against the Usos. Brock Lesnar versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, the match that we should have seen already and could see in 2023. And Logan Paul versus Edge, accompanied by loads of other matches, I'm sure.
I got one more for you.
Go on.
Ray versus Dominic. Let's go.
Okay.
You don't like
and
it?
Is this no? I do, but there's a big caveat for that. Do you think is that where we see the kind of the mask go on to Dominic as almost like an after the match, like a show? You've earned my respect. You've earned this.
Yes. Dominic needs to be in the mask. Ray's coming to the end of his career. We know this. It will be fun. Suspend disbelief. We know they love each other, but I think a good story could be told there. I think the stuff that's going on now with them is interesting, and maybe there's a path to Dominic turning on Ray. And then at the end, you have a nice moment where they hug, they shake hands, he gives him the mask, and Dominic goes on his way as a true luchador. I think that would be incredible.
I'd love to see it. And listen, this WrestleMania card, like we were saying, if Triple H sees this, which I'm sure he does, he watches all of GiveMeSport, incredible content. I'm sure he'll be on the phone to you saying, Ariel, listen, we've got a couple of spots on the creative team. Please come in. But yeah, listen, we will hopefully sit here in April 2023 looking at the card, seeing if you've got your crystal ball. People will be asking you to start predicting the future if you've turned this one out to be right. But Ariel, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you today. And people are going to be seeing a lot of you kind of this weekend at Clash of the Card. So I just wanted to give you the floor to promote the work you're doing with BT Sport and where people can check you out, your own stuff, your stuff with BT Sport, and what they can expect if they tune in to Clash at the Castle on BT Sport 2 this weekend.
Well, I'll only say that if you're a fan of combat sports, there's only one place that you need to be this weekend, and it is BT Sport, because on Saturday, all you have to do is park yourself in front of your television, your tablet, your phone, whatever it is, because we've got UFC Paris on BT Sport 1, and you've got Clash at the Castle on BT Sport 2 going on almost simultaneously. An incredible UFC card headlined by Taito Ivasa and Cyril Gane. Also, Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori, first time ever in Paris for the UFC, and then this historic event in front of all those fans in Wales and Cardiff, to be exact, is going to be a night to remember. So I can't wait. I'm honored to be a tiny part of it. We've got some great content coming out as well, and I appreciate you having me very much.
No, thank you very much. And again, I'll put all the links to the BT Sport and where to watch things in the description to this video, as well as Ariel's social media platforms. And I do just want to say your interviews are tremendous. You have a way to get things out of people in a journalistic way that I think sometimes we lack in wrestling media. And you're someone that the way your interview style, I have kind of looked to take inspiration from. So as I said, an absolute pleasure, and people should definitely be checking out your interview. So I'll link that in the description as well.
Thanks so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.